One of the tricky things about swimming is that even as you constantly improve, there are always going to be swimmers who are faster than you, who are just better at certain skills, and we need to try to learn from those people without getting into the nasty comparison game, where you can start to feel down because you are always playing catch up with folks who are faster than you. On today's Tuesday Tip, we're gonna break down comparing yourself to other people without it becoming a harmful aspect of your sport. Number one reason that we don't want to be always looking at other swimmers' results is because results don't explain the process that got to them. We have no understanding of how they got to their time versus how we got to ours. So just looking at numbers on a page is not going to explain a whole lot for us. And if we're really trying to learn from folks who are better than us at swimming, we need to dive down into the process. So when you're at a swim meet, it's important not just to look at, oh my gosh, that swimmer's time was so much faster than me, I must be doing something so wrong, and rather see if you can watch them swim their race. Perhaps even see if you can see them warming up or practicing during cool down, and see if there's something about their stroke that might be of benefit to you. And if it seems like it might be useful to try out, go to your coach and poke them in the ribs real hard and say, what do you think about this aspect of this person's stroke? And more importantly, do you think it would work for me? All swimmers are built differently. Everybody has their own unique strengths and weaknesses, so just copying what a swimmer with a faster time is doing might actually lead you down the exact opposite path. We need to be more conscious of the process that got a faster swimmer to where they got, rather than the result.
So normally I wouldn't do this, but I kind of felt like talking about myself just a little bit because I think it applies. Because when I started swimming, I was 11 years old. And I swam for New Trier, and I stunk for a while. And all I could do was sort of compare myself to other swimmers because everybody was like way better than me. And I really liked the sport, but when I first started going to meets with other teams, all I could do was compare myself to other swimmers and think to myself like, oh man, I really want to be as fast as them someday. And so I think for years of my swimming career, I basically thought of the sport as me versus everybody else, instead of thinking of it as everybody is trying to do the same thing and we're all trying to get better together. And I think when you spend years of your life in a sport thinking that it's always you versus everybody else, you can start to form some harmful habits where rather than collaborating, you're always just competing. I think that gets sort of not fun, especially if you start to struggle with something and you need help. Which also, like, just as a random side note, this might not apply to anybody watching, but if you're that one friend in your group who's like always asking people what their times are in events, especially if you're then like, I'm faster, your friends don't like that. Don't be that friend. It's okay to ask people what their times are, but if you're constantly like looking at the scoreboard and going like, I would have won that heat, people aren't gonna like that.
And the final thing that I want you all to realize is that when you are playing the comparison game, looking at somebody's results all the time versus your own, you're starting to get into this really emotionally unhealthy spiral, because at the end of the day, what somebody else is doing will always remain outside of your control. And as coaches, we're guilty of it, of constantly talking about handling the things that are within your control, letting go of everything else. The real risk of comparing your times to somebody else's on and on and on until finally we feel really badly about ourselves and about our performances, when at the end of the day, it always comes down to control the things that are within your control. And if there are parts of your process that we can be playing with and improving, that's where we should be focusing all our energy. And with that, keep working hard, focusing, having fun. At the time of this recording, it is early February and we're starting to look at final meets of the season. So now is the best time to shut out the noise, keep thinking about what you're doing in practice every day, having fun, kicking butt, getting yourself revved up and excited for the final meets of the year. Cool? We'll see you there. Till then, work hard, have fun. See you later.